Hello everyone, welcome to the part 2 of our topic on the domain of a function. So in the previous video, I told you that if you are given a rational function or a fraction, we have to avoid the denominator to be 0. Why? Because a fraction with a denominator of 0 is undefined and we don't want that. So to get the domain of this function, we just have to get the denominator, which is 2x plus 1. It should not be equal to 0. Next is to solve for x. So it says here that all numbers can be substituted here except negative 1/2. If we substitute negative 1/2 here, the denominator will be 0. We can write the domain in two forms. It can be in set builder notation or in interval notation. In set builder notation, it will look like this. The set of all x such that x is not a negative 1/2. In interval notation, we can write it this way. From negative infinity until negative 1/2, 1/2 excluded, and from negative 1/2 until positive infinity. That's how we get the domain of a rational function. Next, we have here a fraction, and in this fraction, we have a radical expression. So we have to avoid two things here. We are avoiding this to be imaginary, and we are avoiding the whole expression to be undefined. So first, ito munang tingnan natin. This should not be negative, right? So if we are given a radical expression, we just have to get the inside expression, which is x minus 4. We should set it greater than or equal to 0. Why greater than or equal to 0? We are avoiding the inside to be negative. Now we solve for x. So x should be greater than or equal to 4. But aside from this, we also have to set this not equal to 0 because we don't want our denominator to be 0. We solve for x, positive and negative 5. So anong sinasabi ng mga expressions na to? So yung mga elements ng domain ay yung mga numbers that are greater than or equal to 4. Pero dapat yung elements ng domain ay hindi kabilang sina positive 5 at si negative 5. So for us to be guided on how we are going to write the domain, ilocate natin yung mga numbers na to sa number line. 4, we have here positive 5 and we have negative 5. So negative 5 is not included as well as positive 5. But 4 here is included. That's why we're going to shade 4. And it says here x greater than or negative 4. So we have to shade the area to the right of positive 4. But then it says here that x should not be equal to positive 5. That's why 5 is not included in the domain. So this shaded region is where the elements of the domain are located. So to write this in interval notation, we have here from 4. Since 4 is included, we use the square bracket until 5. 5 is not included. And from 5 until positive infinity. So yun po ang domain ng function na to. Next, we have here a fraction, and in the denominator, we have a radical expression. Ooh, we have to avoid the imaginary. That's why we should set x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. But then we are also avoiding the denominator to be 0. That's why we should not include 0 here. So it should be greater than 0. Why? Because if it is equal to 0, then the expression or the function will be undefined. So we have to use this inequality. So if we have a radical expression in that denominator, you get the inside expression, you equate it greater than 0. We solve for x. And so our domain is the set of all x such that x is greater than negative 3. Or in interval notation, from -3 until positive infinity. So thank you po, and I hope you learned something.